Hi, in this Affinity tutorial, I'm going to look at creating a design motif like this one here. And I'm going to do two parts to this actually because this was the actual shape that I wanted to create. But in looking at inspiration, I found this one here, which has all the different shapes filled with something different. And then there's kind of gold in between the seams of them. And I thought that was really pretty. And I think that would be very easy to achieve in Designer. So I'm going to do two videos for this. The first one today, we're going to focus on just creating this shape and tweaking it so that it fits together nicely like a puzzle piece. So there is a little bit of trial and error to this, but hopefully we can come up with something without too much mucking about. I have successfully done this in practice, but I may have had a little bit of luck because subsequent attempts to film it again have not been that successful. So let me turn off the margins here. So I just created a new document that was 500 pixels by 500 pixels. I don't want any margins, and so I'm just going to work on a square here. So if we take a look at our reference image, this is basically some semicircles off to the side with these, it almost creates an oval here, and then more of a rectangle this way with some circular pieces cut out. So let's work on making that, and I'm going to start with the ellipse tool. I'm going to hold shift and let's just draw out a circle, and I'm just going to make it some nice even numbers, so 120, perfect circle. And then I will copy and paste that, Control C and Control V, and switch to the move tool so that I can move it over. And let's just arrange it. I've got magnetics turned on to just kind of help me arrange this. So let's go ahead and put them kind of like that. And now we need a rectangle in the middle, so I'm just going to draw one out, and then in transform just switch the height to 100, and I'm turning the aspect ratio lock off. And then I can go to the move tool again and just position this. Sorry, it was 120 that my circles were, so let's make it 120 high. And then we'll position this and grab this handle so that we end up with this oval shape. Now I want to take this rectangle and make a copy of it. So I'll copy, Control C, paste, Control V, and we'll just move it directly on top here and shrink it down a bit. Let's just make it about half the height or so. So now what I want to do is I want to copy these circles. So I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to change the color of this just so that it's easier for us to see. So in the fill tool, I'm just going to pick a blue, and then I'm going to copy and paste one more copy of that. So now I'm on the move tool. Let's move this up. So we need to have a little bit of a shoulder here, and then we also have a bit of a blunted part here. So I'm going to just kind of position these first so that they're fairly even. And then I'm going to use my arrow keys. Let's get it right to the middle. This one right to the middle. And then I'll select, this doesn't look centered. Let's do that. That looks better. And actually when I line up this little handle to the edge of the shape and do the same thing here, then I end up with that little shoulder in the middle. So let's try this and see what happens. So I do need to have this shape underneath my ellipsis. So I'm just going to, in the layers panel over here, drag it down so it's under the two blue circles. And now I can hold shift and click on all three of these shapes and go up to the subtract tool and subtract, and that took out that shape from there. So the next thing I want to do is I want to test this. So I'm going to grab this, copy and paste. While it's still all selected, I can move it out of the way and Control G to group it. So again, I'm going to change the color of it because I just want it to be different. And let's also flip it a complete 180 degrees. And so now what we want to do is just kind of line it up here and see what we've got. And we are pretty darn close. I'm having better luck with this one. Yeah, that is actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and just delete this. And so we can take this shape, copy and paste, and then we'll come up to the flip tool here and just flip vertical. Now it looks like a bikini bottom. And we'll put it down here, close up any seams, and let's do one final test. I'm just gonna Control G to group these again, copy and paste, and just double check that it has a fairly even seam in between. And let's just paste one more copy and put it down here. Yeah, that looks good. So let's take this one, delete, and then I'm going to grab all of these. Let's ungroup them again. And then we'll grab all of them, and in the Add tool, that will make it all one shape. So now I'm going to center this, and we're going to make some copies. So Control C to copy, Control V, and then we will position it. And copy again. And again. Use your arrows if you need to nudge it a bit. Okay, and so now we need to fill in these corners, so we're going to keep going. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And now we just need our corners here. So I'm just pasting and then moving. Using the arrows to nudge it. Okay, so now I've got a basic layout. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more. It's not perfect everywhere, but let's just try and eyeball this pretty close. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to group them all together. And so I want this to be able to be a repeating tile. So I have this one perfectly centered, but I want to bring this side in so that it's pretty much in the middle. This side in. And this is where there's going to be a little bit of tweaking as well. I'm going to bring it down here. So something like that. I think, well, yeah, I like that. Okay, So we could make this into a tile and test it. I'm going to do that off camera, but this is our basic layout of creating this sort of shape and then arranging it on a tile to make sure that it all fits nicely, and then kind of tweaking it. So now that I have this sized, I can go back and ungroup these into separate ones. In my initial test, I had a whole bunch more of these outside that I didn't need, so I ended up deleting the ones that I didn't need. But this is the basic setup for this shape. I'm going to test this for its seamlessness off camera, and then I'm going to come back for another video where we'll look at doing some creative fills of this. I'll see you then.